Uh, okay. I know I'm gonna hear it from my viewers. I haven't been on in about 3 weeks to a month, and there's a perfectly good explanation for it. A couple explanations for it. I've been concentrating on me and Tony the Tiger's other podcasts, 12 Rounds of Adrenaline, starring Tony the Tiger Lopez. I've been trying to build this channel for him, so I've really been concentrating on his channel. And then just personal things in my life. But first, I want to give a shout out to some of our sponsors. Our number one sponsor is attorney Eddie Garnica. And if you guys need an attorney in Northern California, hit Eddie up at 916-617-0807. Again, 916-617-0807. He's located at 5001 Franklin Boulevard. He's a criminal defense attorney, along with he does immigration law. Stop that. And a shout out to my company, Pro Tree Cutters. If you guys need a tree trimmed, removed, or shaped, or weight reduction, give us a call at 530-586-6807. Again, another sponsor is Golden One Automotive, and ask for Tony at 916-822-4286. He's also located at 4901 Franklin Boulevard, and that's all in Sacramento. Any needs, transmissions, any kind of mechanical work, they even do auto body and paint now. So if you guys need an attorney, if you guys need any auto work or any tree trimming or removal, give me a call, and then we'll take care of that. Again, I apologize for not being on here as much. Like I said, I'm building up our other podcast, 12 Rounds of Adrenaline with Tony the Tiger Lopez. I've really been concentrating on that. So I really haven't had time. And besides that, personal issues. What's up, Snoopy Mac? Ronald Kelly. I'll get into that, Ronald. What's good, David Johnson? Olale Cuvo, Mr. Goyle. From Solace. That's where I know a lot of your homies, homie. I was locked up in the 80s with a lot of people from Salinas. So that's the reason why I haven't been on here as much. Get your butt outside. Go outside. You guys got to excuse me for 1 second. I got to let this damn dog outside. Come on. I apologize for that. I just had to let that damn dog out. That's my right-hand man, by the way. That's Chase. Anyways, that's the reason why I haven't been on here as much. I appreciate the support I've been getting, all the comments, all the emails that I've been getting to come back on and tell these stories. I've been watching YouTube. And you know what? I trip out on some of these other channels, man, because they don't really hit on what's really going on in the California Department of Corrections. So I'm going to hit on the racial tensions that's going on right now. And it started out, well, it didn't even start out with this Crip and this I'm going to call him a veteran. And you guys know who I'm talking about if you guys are in the prison genre. So something started out in High Desert. As you guys know, first of all, they let all the big heads out of Pelican Bay shoot in 2000, I believe, 16. When I was there, they was transferring to where I was at. They spread them out all through California. Now, some of these individuals, and I know you guys heard it on other channels, been locked in a box for 30 plus years. So they only know what's being told to them while they're in the shoe. And they're calling the shots for everybody. So when they come to these yards and they got as much freedom as they have after being in the shoe all that time, they seem to get loose. They seem to push their authority around. And some of these cats got an ego. And I know both their names, the people that were involved. Actually, I know the Crip member, the Crip that stabbed the cat from down south. I'm just gonna say it, man. So an MA member got out of the shoe, went to High Desert, and took over the yard. Like that's what he's there for. And he got loose with it. And what I mean by that is he got comfortable. And he knows his status. He knows what he represents. Hey, that's what I'm gonna hit on, random name. You're right about that. So I'm gonna touch on that. But this MA member, he got besides himself. He got drunk one day. You guys probably heard this whole story on a number of YouTube channels. So I tapped in. I tapped in with 2 YouTube channels, and I tapped in with somebody in Salinas Valley on CR. Was it CR? BR? I believe it was one of those yards. Anyways, and this is what information I gathered. So this all happened in High Desert. And the reason why I'm talking about Salinas Valley is because when the MA member disrespected this Crip, not once, not twice, but 3 times. This Crip been in jail since 1989. That's when I went to prison in 1989. So we're up under the old act, E numbers. I had an E number, E310 number. I went in February of 1989 to prison. And I stayed a long time, back and forth for 28 years. So if you could gather what I'm thinking and what I feel, and I'm trying to present it to you in a way where you guys can understand it for those that never been to prison. So you got this cat. He's of Mexican descent. That's been worn with blacks throughout the 70s and 80s. And then you let him out after doing 30 years in the shoe, 32 years in the shoe, and he hits a main line and he disrespects a Crip. The same Crip, 3 times they lived in the same building. The Crip wasn't having it. We're going to call him Bo. We're going to call the Crip Bobo. That's not his true name. And we're going to call the MA member Salis. Okay, so Salis disrespects Bobo 3 times, 3 different times in a 2-week span. And you know, when you get this, so I'm just going to tell you this. When you come from that era in the 80s being in prison, that Crip shows me he had a lot of solitude and a lot of patience, because when you're at war with a different race or a different faction, which is a gang, soon as someone from another faction disrespects you, you usually go to their car and let them know and let them deal with it. But see, when you got someone that's running the car, you don't have no one to go to. So I see where this Crip waited. And he waited till the 3rd time, and he just wasn't having it after that. He went and stabbed dude. That's what he was supposed to do. Point blank, he was supposed to do that on the 2nd time. If the MA members, people didn't put him in check for disrespecting this OG Crip dude that's been around since the 80s, then he did what he was supposed to do. He just waited a little bit too long in my eyes. I think I'd have got at him on the 2nd time. I'd have gave him a second chance. I know he was drunk, but the 3rd time he really disrespected this dude. And what that tells me about the MA member is the 1st time he disrespected, he seen he could get away with it. The 2nd time he pushed a little harder. The 3rd time, the brother wasn't having it, and he wasn't supposed to. He's not going to let his name get tarnished by the whole building, because once you get disrespected in prison and you don't do nothing about it, it spreads throughout California prison system very fast. Bobo got disrespected, and he has a name for himself. So he wasn't going to let that slide, and he did what he was supposed to do. Okay, that's done. He goes to the hole in High Desert. He gets a DA referral. That means they sent the case to the court because he stabbed him, right? While he's in the hole, he goes to classification, and they said, you're no longer welcome here. We're going to send you to Salinas Valley. He gets to Salinas Valley. And as all you guys know, everybody got cell phones in prison. So I'm sure the MA member that got blasted, his ego was hurt. I'm sure they notified Salinas Valley, this dude's on his way up there. Take care of him when he gets there. Even though Bobo wasn't out of pocket, he was defending his name and he did what he was supposed to do. These are the violence acts that you can't avoid in prison. When someone gets on drugs, that's why I never did drugs in prison. Or someone drinks in prison and gets so drunk that they disrespect another car. you gotta see that this was coming. Now, the alliance between the North and the South. This puts the Northern Hispanics in a bad place right now. And let me explain this to you. So there's an alliance right now, end of hostilities. And if you guys know about California prison system, back when I was in prison, the blacks, the Crips especially, were in alliance with the Northern Mexicans. We were like that. We worked together in prison. YA, all being in prison for all them years, I worked with Norteños. And I worked with them very close. And I probably know a lot of stuff about that whole car that I shouldn't know. Because I got close to them. And my relatives on the street, my cousins are all Northerners. So that being said, the North and the South came to the agreement that they were going to back each other up. They eat together. They play sports together. And that's never happened. Now, how do you think the blacks feel about that? After years and years and years of being in alliance with the Norteños, now the Northerners are throwing the blacks to the side and be like, we're going to be in alliance with these Southsiders. And blacks and Southsiders been going to war for years in prison. I was in 3 riots with Southsiders while I was in prison. One in Pleasant Valley. I don't want to get into that. I don't want to tail off. You got to excuse me if I just ramble on because I start getting thoughts in my head. So anyways, Bobo gets to Salinas Valley. Let me back up. Bobo gets to Salinas Valley, and I'm sure he's aware of where he stood with the Southern Mexican, with the Raza. I'm sure he knew that they was going to try to get him. But what he didn't know is if the blacks were going to back him, which he should have known they were. He wasn't out of pocket. He did what he was supposed to do. So he gets to Salinas Valley. He goes to the yard. But while he's in the hole, he's being discussed. And that's natural. If I was in the hole, getting ready to get out the hole, I know my homies are out there knowing I'm coming out, and then they're going to discuss my situation. So I'm sure every black and every Mexican on that yard in Salinas Valley knew Bubba was going to get out the hole, and the blacks were going to back him, and the Southsiders didn't want him there because they got the call to get rid of that dude because he stabbed a higher up MA member. And what do you think happened? So the Mexicans approached the Crips, the Southern Crips, and told them, when this dude comes out the hole, he's not wanted here. You guys take care of him. And naturally, the Crips aren't going to remove another OG Crip that wasn't out of pocket, didn't do anything wrong, got a solid name for 25 years in California prison system, never told on no one, don't got no funny cases. It would be, it just wouldn't happen. If they came to his car and told him they got to remove him, his car ain't going to remove him for no Mexican gang when they've been warned with him, right? Because he did nothing wrong. So what the Southsiders decided to do was take off on the blacks. They had weapons. But fortunately for the Crips, the Bloods, and everyone was in that riot, they was prepared. So my understanding is this. The Norteños didn't get in that time. Let me tell you this. The Southsiders came up a little bit short on that riot that happened a couple weeks ago. 3 Southsiders got stabbed. 1 black got stabbed. So They're on lockdown right now. They're about to come off lockdown. They can't keep them on lockdown too long no more. When I was in prison, they kept us on lockdown for years. I was on lockdown one time for 2 years at New Folsom. They can't do that no more. It's against the law. I think the maximum lockdown is 30 to 90 days, and then they start letting them out. And what do you think is going to happen when they let the Mexicans and blacks off lockdown? This is going to be a pivotal point in California Department of Corrections history right now. And why I say that is this. The Norteños, I'm positive that they know the situation like I know it. That this brother did what he was supposed to do because he was disrespected by this MA member. So they're going to have to make a decision. When these Southsiders and these blacks go at it again, because it's going to happen, and it ain't just going to happen in Salinas Valley. It's going to spill over to all these level 4 prisons and maybe some of these level 3 prisons. That's just how it works. When one car gets in a riot in one prison, it usually kicks in another prison, then another. It's a chain reaction. Now, the yards that these Northerners are on with these Southsiders on these 180 level 4 yards and these 270 level 4 yards, they're going to have to make a decision. And whatever decision they make, I'm going to give you my opinion on what I think is going to happen. But I'm not no God. I'm not no fortune teller. But whatever decision they make, that's going to stamp either they're an alliance, a true alliance with the Southsiders if they help them, or they're going to go for what I think they should do is the righteous move and stay out of it. And the reason why, because a righteous move, you don't back no one that was in the wrong. Let me tell you something. This ain't a black and Mexican thing. They're making it into that. It's one individual that happens to be Mexican descent that's high up in that organization, the Mexican Mafia, that was out of pocket. He should be the one getting checked, and they should squash this. He should be the one getting removed and squash this, because there's going to be a lot of bloodshed over this. Believe me when I say that. If the MA don't check that dude and discipline him for what he did, and they let him come back out, and he still got the keys, and he's still pushing to remove these Crips, it's going to get very ugly, because that's going to push all the blacks to come together. Trust me when I say that. I was there when it happened in Pleasant Valley. We took off on the Bulldogs, and all the blacks came except the IE card. I already did a story about that. I caused a riot with the Bulldogs over a $50 green dot over my little homie Sadiddy. And 17 of us took off on over 100 and something Bulldogs on the yard on the Sunday. And all the blacks came. I didn't even tell them. All the blacks came to our assistance except the IE car. And I don't want to get into that. But what I'm saying is this. The Northerners have a decision to make. And whatever decision they make, it's going to be a pivotal point in California Department of Corrections. I promise you that. It's going to stamp whether they're really in alliance with the Southsiders or they're in a loose alliance with them. And I believe if they don't back them, it's going to be back to Southsiders on one side of the yard, Northerners on the other side of the yard. It ain't going to be a true alliance. So you guys mark my words and go back and look at this video in a couple of weeks when they let them off lockdown at Salinas Valley, because that's where it's going to start at. Then it's going to roll over to High Desert. It's going to roll over to New Folsom. It's going to roll over to Corcoran and Pelican Bay. All level 4 yards. This riot that just happened is going to spill over to these yards if they don't DP that Mexican Mafia member that was out of pocket and disrespected that Crip dude Bobo. That's not his true name. Salis ain't the Mexican Mafia. I'm not going to give up names and all that. I did my research, and that's why I took so long to do this video, man, because I wanted to watch. I'm not the type to just put a video out without doing research. I talked to several people on level 4 institutions, and I'm actually relaying the message from these people in these prisons. They're giving me the information. I'm relaying it to you guys. And this is exactly how a lot of individuals feel. I'm just giving it in my own wording. like I said, man, it's going to be a pivotal point in California Department of Corrections. It's going to really show if the North and South are really in a end of hostilities right now. If the Norteños back the Sureños on this very delicate situation, there's going to be a lot of bloodshed over this. Believe me. If they don't get at that dude that caused this shit, mark my words. I'll be back on YouTube. I'm going to start doing this weekly again. I'm still focused on 12 rounds of adrenaline with Tony the Tiger Lopez. If you guys like my videos, share it, leave a comment, and if you support my channel, cash at me. It's at the bottom, $1. $1. Just cash at me and let me know you support my channel. It's $1, man. That's just showing me that you really support my channel. I know Snoopy Mac, you always been here. You've been here from the beginning. And I appreciate that, man. Like I said, share, like, comment. If you ain't subscribed, subscribe to my channel. What's up, these nuts? You back on. What's up, homie? Go back and look at the video if you didn't see it from the beginning. This is going to be a pivotal point in California Department of Corrections, man. Like I said, I shouted out my sponsors at the beginning of this video, so go check them out. If you need an attorney in California, check out Eddie Garnica, man. He's my attorney for my YouTube channel and Tony the Tiger's YouTube channel, 12 Rounds of Adrenaline. Also, Golden One Automotive and my own tree company, Pro Tree Cutters, were all supporters of these channels. We sponsor them. Like I said, I'm doing a random video today because this shit's irritating that what's happening in there. It seems like when you have that much power, you abuse it. And it's a big old game, man. And it's a lot of smoke and mirrors in this shit. And if you guys never been to California prison system, I suggest you don't go there to find out, because it changes your whole demeanor. It changes your whole thought process. When you come home, you're not going to think about people the same. You're not going to trust people because there's so much dirty shit that goes on there. It's called dirty politicking. And all these people in there, believe me, these heads, they're out for themselves. They don't care about their people. They want to get high. They want to get drunk, and they want to make money. That's all they care about. Everyone's disposable in prison. Keep that in mind, youngsters. When you think about going to commit that crime, robbing that store, robbing that dope dealer, selling dope, keep that in mind. When you go to prison, you're disposable. You ain't cared about. Your neighborhood don't care about you. Your gang, your up behind don't care about you. Trust me. Ask for $1,000 when you get arrested. How many people can you call when you go to the county jail for $1,000 to get bail? If you had $100,000 bail and you needed 10 bands, can you call 10 people, your friends, to give you $1,000 a piece? Watch what happens when you do. I experienced that. I had to count on my family to make bail every time. So with that said, stay loyal to who you are. Tell the people you love them, and stay blessed in these streets and stay protected at all times. And I sincerely mean that. Stay protected. Protect your family at all times, at all costs. You're right, Snoop. A lot of people. And the factions don't care about them, homie. So stay blessed. Wait for the next video. If you support my channel, like, subscribe, leave a comment, cash out me $1. See y'all in the next one. Peace out.